No surprise there. That was beautiful. Thank you, choir and Peter. Y'all, that was really Latin and what? German? No, French. Wow, y'all trilingual in singing and everything. Ah, man, it's amazing. Made me believe I could sing in French and Latin too. That's pretty cool. Thank you. It's always moving to hear the choir up there. It's just a gift that you give to all of us. So there's a phrase I know I have often heard, and that's one happy family, right? One happy family. And whether we realize it or not, most of us carry a very specific image of what that probably means. A household, parents, children, order, stability, roles that make sense, right? But let me ask you this. Does that picture include a single parent raising a child on their own? Does it include someone who has chosen not to have children? Does it include someone who has been rejected by their family? Does it include those whose lives don't fit into neat, familiar categories? If we're honest, the cultural answer has often been no, right? And yet, when we turn to Jesus, especially in today's reading, that answer, for me anyways, begins to unravel. In this passage, I believe Jesus is preparing his disciples for his departure. We know this. They are anxious, uncertain. They don't know what life will look like without him physically present. And into that fear, Jesus speaks a promise. I will not leave you orphaned. For me, that is not just poetic language, that's relational language. He's not talking about theology in the abstract. He's talking about belonging, I believe. Now, think about the world the disciples lived in. Family was everything, I imagine. But it was also deeply structured, hierarchical, clearly defined. The father at the top, then the son, then everyone else in their place. Power flowed in one direction. Identity was assigned. Belonging came with conditions. So when the disciples tried to understand God, they do it through that framework, I believe. Show us the Father, they ask. They are looking for a position, you see, for clarity, for someone at the top. But Jesus responds in a way that disrupts everything they expect. He says, I am in the Father, and you are in me, and I am in you. To me, that is quite a radical statement. There is no ladder there, is there? No ranking system, no rigid structure of power. Instead, there is relationship. Mutual, interwoven, alive. So who then is in charge in this family is my question. The question itself begins to fall apart. Because Jesus is not building a hierarchy, I believe. He is revealing a communion. And that matters to me because for many of us, our first experience of power, healthy or harmful, comes from family, I think. It's where we learn what love looks like. But it's also where we can learn control and balance and even fear. Family can nurture us, but it can also shape us to accept systems where some dominate and others are expected to submit. And those patterns don't stay at home, they echo into the world around us. We begin to believe that hierarchy is normal, that some belong more than others, that difference is something to be corrected or excluded. But Jesus interrupts that story. He doesn't just expand the definition of family, he transforms it. Because right after saying, I will not leave you orphan, Jesus makes another promise, doesn't he? He says that the advocate, the Spirit of truth, will be with us, in us, not above us, not controlling us from a distance, but with us, within us. That means the presence of God is not confined to a role or a rank. It moves between us, it lives in us, it binds us together in love. And here's where it becomes deeply personal. Because if that is true, then belonging is not something we earn by fitting a mold. It is something we receive and something we extend. Jesus says, they who have my commandments and keep them are those who love me. And what is that commandment? To love one another. Amen. Not selectively, not conditionally, but fully. That kind of love creates something powerful. It creates family. But not the kind defined by structure or expectation, a family defined by presence, by care, commitment. What some of us might call a chosen family sometimes. This matters especially for those who have felt excluded. I know many of us have stories of maybe people we know who have been excluded by their family, right? Those who have been told directly or indirectly that they don't belong because of who they are, how they live, or because they don't fit the expected pattern. To them, this passage speaks clearly. You are not orphaned, not by God. And it also challenges those of us who do feel comfortable with traditional structures. Because it asks us, I believe, are we protecting a system or are we embodying love? Are we maintaining appearances or are we creating belonging? Because the truth is, love is what draws us closer to God. Not conformity, not hierarchy, love. Jesus says that as we love, we come to know him and through him. In other words, we don't climb our way into God's presence, right? We love our way into it. And that's good news for me. So I want to suggest that maybe the question we carry today is not what does a proper family look like, but rather where is love showing up? And where is it being withheld? Who feels like an outsider? And how are we being called to respond? I will not leave you orphaned. That's the promise. And through us, through our love, our presence, our willingness to embrace one another, that promise becomes visible, real, tangible. So, College Heights, may we continue to be a people who loosen the grip of hierarchy, who expand the meaning of family that I believe we do very well here, who choose love again and again. And in doing so, may we discover something beautiful, that we were never meant to stand alone, that we belong to one another. We are family here. And that in that belonging, we encounter the living God. Amen. The floor is yours.